For 22 long years, Amelia lived in a modest apartment, nestled in the heart of a bustling city, paying an unbelievably low rent of just $200 a month. In a world where rent prices soared, where the struggle for affordable housing was a daily battle for millions, Amelia's situation was nothing short of miraculous. But this wasn't just luck. It was a carefully guarded secret, a silent pact between her and her enigmatic landlord, Mason. A secret that would ultimately change her life in a way no one, especially Amelia, could have ever predicted. Amelia first moved into the apartment when her life was at its lowest ebb. A young single mother, struggling to make ends meet after a sudden illness, she found herself on the brink of homelessness. That's when Mason, an older gentleman who owned the building, offered her a lifeline. He saw something in Amelia, a quiet determination, a resilient spirit, and offered her the small, sun-drenched unit for a rent that seemed almost a typo. $200. It barely covered the building's maintenance, let alone turning a profit. Everyone else in the building, and indeed the entire neighborhood, paid market rates, often 5, 6, even 10 times what Amelia paid. Whispers followed her, of course. Some thought she was a relative of Mason's. Others speculated about a secret romance. But Amelia always just smiled, a hint of sadness in her eyes, and said it was simply his kindness. She never elaborated, never boasted. She knew what this gift meant. The low rent wasn't just a discount. It was the foundation upon which Amelia rebuilt her life. It allowed her to work fewer hours, dedicate more time to her son Aiden, who thrived under her attentive care. It allowed her to save a little, to dream a little. She enrolled in night classes, slowly working towards a degree she'd always wanted, a dream long deferred. The apartment itself, though small and showing its age, was a sanctuary. She painted the walls in soft, calming colors, filled it with thrift store finds and handmade crafts, turning it into a home overflowing with love and warmth. Aiden grew up knowing the value of every penny, but also the immeasurable value of compassion, watching his mother navigate life with grace and gratitude. Mason, the landlord, was a man of few words, but his presence was always felt. He lived in a larger unit on the ground floor, a quiet, solitary figure. He'd often be seen tending to the small communal garden, his hands calloused from years of work. He'd share a nod, a brief smile, or a thoughtful comment with Amelia, never prying, never asking for anything in return for his extraordinary generosity. He was like a silent guardian watching over her and Aiden. Sometimes Amelia would try to offer him small gifts, homemade cookies, a fresh-baked pie, as a token of her endless appreciation, which he would accept with a gentle, almost shy smile, always insisting it wasn't necessary. This made his act of kindness even more profound. It truly felt selfless. Years turned into decades. Aiden grew up, went to college, and started his own life, a successful young man, a testament to Amelia's unwavering dedication. Amelia, now in her late 40s, was finally on the cusp of achieving her own professional dreams, her degree almost complete. The $200 rent was still a marvel, a constant source of quiet amazement for anyone who learned of it. The other tenants had long since stopped speculating, accepting Mason's eccentric generosity as just another one of life's mysteries. But then the unthinkable happened. One crisp autumn morning, the building manager, a stern but fair woman named Lily, knocked on Amelia's door, her face etched with sorrow. Mason had passed away peacefully in his sleep. The news reverberated through the building like a shockwave. Despite his quiet nature, Mason had been an institution, a bedrock of the community. A small, intimate funeral was held, attended by the few friends he had, and many of his grateful tenants, including Amelia, whose heart ached with a profound sense of loss for the man who had been her silent benefactor for so long. A few weeks later, a letter arrived for Amelia, sealed with an official wax stamp. Her hands trembled as she opened it. It was an invitation to a will reading, A formality, she assumed. Perhaps he had left her a small token of remembrance, a gesture of his continued kindness. She arrived at the lawyer's office, a grand, imposing building downtown, feeling a strange mix of apprehension and respect. She was the only tenant present. The room was filled with Mason's distant relatives, all looking somewhat expectant, some openly hostile to each other. The lawyer, a distinguished man with silver hair, began to read Mason's last will and testament. He spoke of Mason's life, his quiet philanthropy, and his desire to leave a lasting legacy. And then he came to the specific bequests: properties, investments, personal belongings, all meticulously detailed. The relatives shifted impatiently, eager to hear their share. And then the lawyer cleared his throat, his gaze settling on Amelia. And to Amelia, for her unwavering spirit and the quiet dignity with which she built a life for herself and her son, and in recognition of the deep bond of respect and admiration I held for her, I bequeath the entire apartment building located at 42 Elm Street, free and clear of all debts and encumbrances. The air in the room seemed to freeze. A stunned silence descended, broken only by a sharp gasp from one of Mason's nieces. Amelia felt the blood drain from her face, then rush back with dizzying force. Her mind struggled to process the words. The entire building, the very building she had called home for 22 years, was now hers. The relatives erupted in angry whispers, some outright protests, but the lawyer, with a calm, firm voice, reiterated the legality and finality of the will. Mason had no direct heirs, and his will was meticulously crafted, leaving no room for dispute. Amelia walked out of that office in a daze, the will clutched in her hand, the city lights a blur around her. The sheer magnitude of Mason's final act of kindness was overwhelming. It wasn't just a building, it was a testament to his profound belief in her, a complete reversal of her fortune. She, who had once faced homelessness, was now the owner of a significant piece of real estate, a landlord herself. Her first call was to Aidan, who upon hearing the news was speechless, then burst into tears of joy and pride for her mother. True to her nature, Amelia didn't let the sudden wealth change her. She honored Mason's legacy. She kept the rents affordable for the existing tenants, understanding the value of a stable home. She invested in renovations, making the building even better, a true community hub. She established a small foundation in Mason's name, dedicated to helping single parents find affordable housing, ensuring that his kindness would continue to ripple through the lives of others, just as it had in hers. Amelia, the woman who paid $200 in rent for 22 years, became a beacon of hope, a living testament to the extraordinary power of quiet generosity and the shocking secrets that can lie beneath the surface of everyday life.